Sylvester Stallone had a tough time. He was broke, rejected over and over, and even had to sell his dog. But he wrote Rocky and refused to let anyone else play the lead. He believed in himself. Finally, a studio gave him a chance. Rocky became a huge hit and won an Oscar. Sylvester Stallone, from Rejection to Rocky, the story of a true underdog. Let's start it. Early life and struggles. Sylvester Gardenzio Stallone was born on July 6, 1946, in Hell's Kitchen, New York City. His birth wasn't easy. Complications during delivery caused nerve damage that left parts of his face paralyzed. This gave him his distinct, slurred speech and drooping features, traits that would later become trademarks of his on-screen persona. Stallone grew up in a rough neighborhood and faced many challenges. He was bullied, struggled in school, and found it hard to fit in. But despite these early obstacles, he developed a strong passion for movies and acting. After high school, he attended several schools, including the American College of Switzerland and the University of Miami. He studied drama but never finished college. He knew his heart was in Hollywood. Chasing the dream, Stallone moved to New York City to become an actor. But the path was anything but easy. For years, he faced constant rejection. Casting agents told him he wouldn't make it because of his looks and speech. He was broke, hungry, and desperate. He worked odd jobs to survive, cleaning lion cages at the zoo, working as an usher, even appearing in a softcore film just to keep a roof over his head. At one point, he was so poor he had to sell his dog, Butkus, for $25 just to buy food. He later said it was one of the worst moments of his life. He had hit rock bottom, but he wasn't ready to quit. Writing Rocky. In 1975, Stallone watched a boxing match between Muhammad Ali and Chuck Wepner. Wepner, a huge underdog, managed to knock Ali down and almost last the entire fight. That gave Stallone an idea, a story about an unknown fighter who gets one shot at the heavyweight title. Stallone rushed home and, in just 3 days, wrote the first draft of Rocky. The story followed Rocky Balboa, a working-class Italian-American boxer from Philadelphia who gets a shot at the World Championship. He believed in the story deeply. It was raw, emotional, and personal. Rocky was more than just a boxing movie. It was about heart, struggle, and the will to keep fighting. The turning point: Stallone tried to sell the script, but studios weren't interested unless a big-name actor played the lead role. He was offered up to $350,000 for the script, but he refused to sell unless he could play Rocky himself. He said no to the money because he believed this was his chance, not just for his script to succeed, but for him to succeed. Finally, United Artists agreed to make the movie, with Stallone as the star, but on a tiny budget. The film was shot in just 28 days on a budget of $1 million. Stallone even bought back his dog Butkus, paying the man who bought him $15,000 to get him back, and Butkus appeared in the film. Rocky becomes a legend. When Rocky was released in 1976, it became an instant classic. The film struck a chord with audiences everywhere. It was a story about an underdog, someone ordinary doing something extraordinary. It felt real, because it was real. Rocky earned 10 Academy Award nominations, won 3 Oscars including Best Picture, and became the highest-grossing film of the year. Stallone became an overnight star, but he didn't stop there. Beyond Rocky, building a career. Stallone continued the Rocky franchise with multiple sequels, each showing Rocky's growth, not just as a fighter, but as a man. In 1982, he created another iconic character, John Rambo in First Blood. Rambo was a Vietnam veteran dealing with trauma and survival, and Stallone's portrayal turned it into another blockbuster series. Throughout the 1980s and 90s, Stallone became one of the biggest action stars in the world. He starred in hits like Rocky II, III, IV, V, and Balboa First Blood, and the Rambo sequels Cobra, Cliffhanger, Demolition Man, the Expendables series, which he co-wrote and directed. Even when his career faced ups and downs, Stallone never gave up. He reinvented himself again and again, writing, directing, producing, and acting. Setbacks and comebacks. Stallone's career wasn't always perfect. He had flops, criticism, and years when he was no longer seen as a top star. But true to his Rocky spirit, he kept pushing forward. In 2006, he made a powerful return with Rocky Balboa, a film that reminded the world of his talent and message. In 2015, he reprised the role of Rocky in Creed, mentoring a young boxer named Adonis Creed, the son of Apollo Creed. The performance earned Stallone a Golden Globe Award and an Oscar nomination, nearly 40 years after the original Rocky. Legacy and inspiration today, Sylvester Stallone is a global icon. He has written, directed, and starred in dozens of films. He's one of the most successful and recognizable action stars of all time. But what makes his story powerful isn't just his fame. It's what he had to go through to get there. He believed in himself when no one else did. He risked everything for one shot and made it count. He once said,
I take rejection as someone blowing a bugle in my ear to wake me up and get going, rather than retreat.
and perhaps even more famously,
Going in one more round when you don't think you can. That's what makes all the difference in your life.
final thoughts. Sylvester Stallone's journey is proof that success doesn't come easy. It takes passion, pain, sacrifice, and the strength to keep going, even when the odds are against you. From sleeping on the streets to standing on the Oscar stage, Stallone's life reminds us that you don't have to be perfect. You just have to keep moving forward. Because just like Rocky said,
It ain't about how hard you hit. It's about how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward.
subscribe now for the latest uploads.